Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank.
At the southernmost tip of Africa's Great Rift Valley lies Mozambique's national treasure, Gorongosa National Park. Blessed with diverse ecosystems and breathtaking landscapes, it was all nearly lost to man's deadly mistakes. Today, the park has become a real-time experiment in reviving nature's natural balance.
It is our dreams as Mozambicans to see Gorongosa great again, like before the war.
Gorongosa is a place of peace, not only peace in terms of people, but peace with nature.
Through ambitious plans that lift up both people and their environment, new opportunities are sparking long-lasting change.
Why is it important to educate girls in Mozambique? You want me to stay here the whole night?
There is a saying that if you educate a woman, you educate a nation.
Okay?
We want to restore the forest, and we want to give people something to hold on to.
This is a story of trailblazing transformation and remarkable rebirth.
This idea of linking ecosystem health and human health, smart people have known this for a long time. National parks needed to catch up with the idea.
This is the revival of Gorongosa. This is Inside Africa. Here in a rural schoolyard in central Mozambique, the future of this country's most storied national park is being written.
So I'm Larissa Souza. I am the Girls Club's program manager. The program has the objective of keeping girls in school. So we have to work with the schools to ensure that the girls come to school as well as do other activities in the clubs.
Larissa leads the Girls Club program at Gorongosa National Park. The goal is to supplement girls' lessons at school while letting them explore new educational opportunities that they might never have had.
In the girls' clubs, the prerequisite is that they go to school and then participate also in the club. They do literacy, they do numeracy, very basics. And then we have a day of debates, so they rotate different topics that interest them. And the main ones that they're focusing now is sexual reproductive health, conservation, and we also have children's rights, women's rights, and then also talk a bit about women in society, how they grow as girls in society, in the community. So this is the circle that they are able to ask questions and be able to learn whatever they normally don't learn.
We are happy to be together. We are happy to be together.
Seen as a way to empower young women from surrounding villages, it's unique for what it allows them to do, both inside the classroom and out.
They also have a day that they just play. In the community, normally the girls are the ones that take care of the siblings. They're the ones who cook. And so they normally don't have a specific time to play. What we've noticed is by these girls having their own circle, being able to talk about things very open, it helps them. We used to have cases of girls being sent to get married, and then now they can stand up to themselves and say, hey, Dad, I don't want to do that. I want to continue studying.
So we give extra focus on the girls, then they're in high school, then they're dreaming what kind of career do they want. We have a goal that 50% of all the employees in Gorongosa National Park will be women. We'll be a better workforce if we do that. My name's Greg Carr. I'm from Idaho in the United States. About a dozen years ago, I signed a contract with the government of Mozambique to work with them to restore Gorongosa National Park.
Greg Carr first visited Mozambique in 2003, while the country was still rebuilding after 15 years of war.
I wonder if he recognizes my personal boundaries.
A businessman who made his money in telecommunications, Greg poured himself and his philanthropy into restoring a park that had been the symbol and soul of the country, but was almost completely devastated.
It had been the epicenter of the Civil War that had gone on and on and on. And almost all the animals had been killed during the war. All of the infrastructure destroyed, and the people who lived in the environment of the national park had suffered so much. So the governor of Mozambique asked me to join him in a 30-year project of restoring the national park, restoring nature, but at the same time working with all the people who live in the greater ecosystem. They needed schools, they need health care, they need better farms, but see the bigger ecosystem as one unified whole. In other words, will a healthy national park help the people? The answer is yes.
Gorongosa National Park is now one of the largest employers in the province, hiring people from local communities for jobs of all kinds in the park.
98% of our employees are Mozambican, and they live around here, so it's their national park. Now see, this is a change in thinking from last century. Last century, the view was, here's a national park, here's the people, let's keep them apart. This century, much wiser philosophy is to see the harmony of the greater whole.
This idea on how to manage a modern park mirrors Gorongosa's remarkable rebirth. At the end of the Civil War, many of the park's large animal populations had been slashed by an estimated 90%, much of it due to hunting by both soldiers and villagers searching for food. Trying to resuscitate one of Africa's most biologically diverse national parks began with restoring its natural balance.
We have to take care of our people. Looking after animals, trees, rivers, results is well-being, people welfare. That's why we have to make sure that community realize that this park is belonging to them.
These girls' clubs fit into a long-term effort to build a sustainable national park that people believe in.
For you to be able to save something, you need to understand why you're saving it. So what we do is we focus on education, community relations, and health. So people need to eat, people need to be healthy, and then we inform them and talk to them and show them the park for them to understand, and then have a reason to save the park. We started this project 4 years ago, and now we are sending girls to high school. They now are thinking long term. We are seeing these changes, and it's just a very powerful thing that you might be doing something small but changing people in very, very, very big ways.
Ahead, planting the seeds to Gorongosa's future success.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Think Zenith. In today's fast-moving, fast-changing world, you need a financial partner that understands your unique expectations. A bank with presence in major financial centers across the world, with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, however. A bank with best-in-class financial solutions from a superb combination of technology and human touch for easy, fast and secure banking that creates real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands. People, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
We think we have it very well under control. We have very little problem in this country.
But did they? the president's focus was not on this coronavirus issue.
One day it's like a miracle, it will disappear.
CNN's Jake Tapper investigates what really happened.
Public health officials were telling me they knew this virus was spreading.
While the president was talking about 15 cases going to zero, they were talking about 15 cases going to the thousands.
The pandemic and the president, Monday on CNN.
Trump advisor Peter Navarro. He was the first top administration official to warn of the COVID-19 threat and now helps lead the fight against it. Is the White House playing the blame game with China? Fareed Zakaria, GPS, Sunday.
This area where we are, Gorongosa, we are in, I can say, epicenter of peace. Not only peace in terms of people, but peace with nature is where people learn. If some would want to learn about nature in Mozambique, come to Gorongosa.
The route to revival has been long for Gorongosa National Park. When Greg Carr joined the project in 2008, he began looking for someone who could turn the wreckage of the mountain back to its former glory.
We needed to find a talented person who knew forestry to go up on Mount Gorongosa, work with the local people there, hire them, and to protect the rainforest. And we looked around and we found Pedro Magura.
Yeah.
He's the best forester in this country, but more than that, I think he has personally planted more trees and trained more people to plant trees than maybe anybody in the world.
Boys and girls, thank you very much. Yeah. My connection with Greg Carr is a very long story. I can start by saying that I took time to understand him. First year when he arrived in the park. He proposed that, Pedro, come to work with me. And I told him that I'm teaching here. My duty is to teach people about forestry. People are not understanding what is nature, what is environmental problem, what is climate change. That's why I'm teaching that. I can't go there easily. I had to understand what was Greg's objective in Gorongosa and in the country.
In the end, it was 2.5 years before Greg managed to persuade Pedro to come and see the work being done at the park. The scope of the devastation he witnessed shocked him.
They took me to helicopter. We flew over Mount Gorongosa. We saw disasters. They said I did cry in the helicopter because of deforestation. I said, yeah, it's a problem.
Pedro committed himself to healing the land and restoring the natural balance of life. 15 years later, he's now the Park Warden, a position defined in Mozambican law and appointed by the government.
Very soon I realized he's a lot more than a talented forester. He is a charismatic man. People trust him. People follow him. 100 people were following him up the mountain, carrying saplings to replant trees in areas where you really need the rainforest to come back. Beyond all of that, beyond those personal attributes, beyond those professional skills, there's even one more layer. Pedro's spirituality, his deepest beliefs are tied to the flora and the fauna of Gorongosa Park, of this ecosystem.
Listen. That is the voice of nature. Some areas, some countries, some provinces do not have this sound of nature. People have destroyed nature. We have to make sure that we rehabilitate nature. The starting point to rehabilitate nature is to make sure that the habitat is perfect. Habitat is conducive
One of Pedro's protégés helping to create this environment is Nila Manjate. Nila joined Gorongosa last year after finishing up her master's degree in sociology. She's focused on turning the park's agricultural assets into sustainable business, cashews and coffee.
We produce thousands and thousands of seedlings here, and we provide it to the farmers, to the communities, for them to plant their own coffee. We give them jobs. They work in our own fields. We are providing them with skills to be more business inclined instead of doing agriculture just for subsistence.
The greening of Gorongosa is a year-round effort that extends out to the surrounding villages. It's a hands-on job that has reaped rewards for a community still recovering from the ravages of war.
The word, this is something that in any environment pulls people back to poverty. So you can imagine for these people to have a project, to have a Gorongosa project coming here in a sustainable way and saying, we are here to stay, we are here to provide you with opportunities, we are here to remove you from this bubble that you are living in and put you back to the normal life, to the communities, to access to infrastructure, to job opportunities, and to be a citizen. For me, this is amazing.
So we want to restore the forest, and we want to give people something to hold on to, some income, some financial stability through that.
While focused on helping women enter the workforce, the creation of a coffee production facility here was unique for another reason. Mozambicans are not coffee drinkers.
We are tea drinkers. So when we started this project, people just adopted it without knowing what coffee is. When we finally took coffee and we did some cupping out there to get people to taste what they were producing, it was really funny and interesting. So because they were tasting the coffee and it's bitter, because we're not used to it, so everyone wanted sugar and milk with their coffee. It's amazing to witness the change. I mean, to watch something that was started from scratch and noticing the changes in our behavior and the marks that the trees, well, there were no trees and now there's a coffee tree plus a native tree. It's amazing, really beautiful to witness that.
Pedro's initial goal as Park Warden was to replant 1 million trees in Gorongosa.
A very good tree gives food to people, mammals, insects.
With a current rate of more than 200,000 new plants a year, he's sown the seeds to allow his dream to grow even larger.
When we start doing reforestation, this area was bare ground, no trees. Now, by using this strategy, agroforestry strategy, conservation agriculture, joining forestry species with food crops, we are joining with people, convincing local communities that you can still do your agriculture, but in sustainable ways. We are doing all this reforestation to protect Mount Gorongosa.
When we return, growing the future of the park by breaking down barriers and blazing new trails.
Working in Gorongosa, for me, it's being a big opportunity. I'm really proud of it.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Think Zenith. In today's fast-moving, fast-changing world, you need a financial partner that understands your unique expectations. A bank with presence in major financial centers across the world, with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, however. A bank with best-in-class financial solutions from a superb combination of technology and human touch for easy, fast, and secure banking that creates real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands. People, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Do you remember when they closed the schools and kids tried to learn online? And when we heard the term social distancing for the very first time? Do you remember when we worked from home and actually missed the office and even the people we didn't get along? When the fun of flying wasn't there for us anymore, but we had to be strong. All of those things we took so much for granted were now off limits to us every day. A walk in the park, a bit of a lark, a kiss in the dark. Do you remember when we stayed away from the gyms and watched too much TV so we put on weight and learned not to hate anything or anybody anymore except COVID-19? Do you remember when the airlines were grounded, which meant we missed our loved ones even more, but the whole world came together and said enough, no more?
Interviewed 5 U.S. presidents, authored 7 books, and has an independent voice that resonates.
What happened to when we were united against a common enemy?
He's raw, unique, and one of America's most important talk show hosts. Watch Smirkanish today on CNN.
High above Mozambique's Gorongosa National Park, nature's renewal is in plain view. From Ranger Alfredo Matavele's vantage point, it becomes clear how far the rehabilitation of the park has come.
I feel peace. I feel peace for the environment. The same peace that the environment deserves.
Drastic improvements to the tree canopy and a revitalized wildlife population have helped turn what was once a battleground into a park of peace.
I believe every Mozambican is proud of what's happening here, because Gorongosa is not changing the environment, it's changing life.
This opportunity to dream big and feel a part of something larger than themselves extends throughout the park's dedicated staff.
I'm Gabriela Curtis. I work in Gorongosa National Park. I grew up in the Gorongosa village. I am the first woman ever trained as a safari tourism guide in the history of Gorongosa.
Gabriela Curtis probably best embodies the spirit of hope in the park. Born in a village at the gateway to the park, she remembers hearing stories of life during the Civil War and the gunfire that continued to rage inside the park, even after the war had ended. Today, she sees her achievement as the first step in changing perceptions of what's possible.
Girls from the village, they thought that only a boy can do whatever they want, a girl not. But we have to change that, how we can change it, creating role models.
In high school, Gabriela studied conservation inside Gorongosa as part of her biology class. Eventually, she was given an opportunity to apply for the guide position.
I did exam in South Africa and English, which is quite hard because English is my 4th language. So I tried and then I passed with the higher score, which is, I'm really proud for it. Working in Gorongosa for me, it's being a big opportunity to help my family, my brothers, and be a role model not only for my village, but as well for my brothers.
When I see younger girls like Gabby, who have dreams, who have potential, but just because of lack of opportunities, you could see them going the wrong way. And if they look at us, the young women here in Gorongosa, showing them that it's possible to go out of poverty, to do great things, to help other people, this is just the real success for me.
To being a first woman guide in Gorongosa, I'm proud of it. When I go to game drive with the girls, with any guest, I feel that I really changed their mind. I feel that they really feel connected with the nature. What I love from my job, it is I love different cultures, and the nature brings a peace in my soul.
This transformative power of nature is what has propelled Gorongosa forward, allowing it to overcome man's mistakes and move toward a more sustainable, inclusive future. Rebirth, regrowth, revival.
Gorongosa is a story of hope. It's a story that we can win, and we means all of humanity can live in harmony with nature. A national park like Gorongosa that had 6 lions when I came here now has 150 lions. We have to believe and know it's possible, because if you don't believe and know it's possible, you aren't going to try.
This is a very special opportunity whereby tomorrow leadership in this park is going to be made by these girls.
What is it like to be a part of the transformation of this park? I mean, who doesn't like to be part of history? Who doesn't want to be in the books of story of a country?
My mission for Gorongosa Park is seeing a generation of children growing up, protecting the environment, getting the best education they can, and developing their communities.
It is so important to take these kids to safari. The thing is, they will learn, and they will take their knowledge for their parents, friends, and other people from the neighbor. When they will talk with all spirit and with the peace that they've get it in this nature. So for me, it's very important, and I'm very proud of being a role model for these girls.
Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank.